Greetings, Upstanders. Dr. O here. So I got a question for you. Who are the real welfare queens? Is it black women or is it the Trump administration? We see with this conversation over SNAP benefits that the media out there, you see Fox reporting on these fake AI stories and passing them off as real stories about black women exploiting the system on food stamps. You see influencers like Brett Cooper putting out AI videos and talking about them like they're real. Maybe they think they're real, maybe they don't care. About black women begging for aid, for food assistance and the like. I've never seen a video of any black men that are out, or kids begging for, or AI videos generated of them begging for their SNAP benefits. But if they are out there, the only ones that are going viral regularly are those of black women, because America has a fascination with this idea of the black woman as welfare queen. And as I'm going to talk about later, we'll see that the real welfare queens are the Trump administration and many of these people out in corporate America spaces. But it's important to have an idea of where this idea of the welfare queen actually came from, so you can be fortified of knowledge to be able to refute it. So you can get a lot of this information in my best-selling book, Here Lies About Black People, where chapter 10 is called Black People Are Just Not Good with Money. And I started off by talking about the welfare queen. So let me just break this down a little bit. So the welfare queen, the original welfare queen, is a woman named, I'll explain the air quotes later, Linda Taylor, who was in 1974 a 47-year-old woman living in Chicago, and she was indicted on 31 counts of an quote involving her alleged receipt of illegal welfare benefits, medical assistance, food stamps, and Social Security and veterans benefits. While and she basically, a Rochester, New York newspaper called her the welfare queen. Okay, now in 1976, Ronald Reagan got news of this. Okay. And in one of his rallies, he said the following. In Chicago, they found a woman who holds the record. She used 80 names, 30 addresses, 15 telephone numbers to collect food stamps, Social Security, veterans benefits for 4 non-existent deceased veteran husbands, as well as welfare. He said, in fact, her tax-free cash income alone has been running at $150,000 a year. When he said this in the audience, if you hear the audio, you could hear people gasping in the audience. And this was Trump playing off of what was talked about as it relates to this case involving Linda Taylor. Fam, that's where the idea of the welfare queen came up. But here's something that's interesting. If you read the book or see some, and I'm going to share some links for you to follow later as well. He never mentioned the race of Linda Taylor. He never mentioned the race. He didn't even say her name. But the fact of the matter is that's all America needed, because America wanted to be quick to dump the label of this person who's milking and exploiting the system. They wanted to make that face a black woman. And so that idea of Linda Taylor automatically being a black woman is what America ran with. And over 50 years later in this country, we are still dealing with that narrative. And if you think it just happened in the 70s and is popping up right now, come on, that's absolutely ridiculous. The same, remember COVID? Y'all were there. I was there. Remember when Biden and Trump were talking about putting out their different relief programs and the like? What were people saying? This is a socialist program that poor people are going to take advantage of, and people were putting up the face of a black woman as well. And that black people are going to take advantage of it. Black people, black women trying to feed they 3 baby daddies and all of that other type. That's what they were saying. That's what they were saying. And now we come to this administration right now, Trump 2.0, and the same thing is happening with SNAP benefits. Although we know Nicole Hannah-Jones and so many other folks have said emphatically the majority of recipients of SNAP benefits are white people. But when you look at these AI stories, when you look at news outlets like CNN, and how y'all notice this, come on, even if you ain't saying it, you feeling it. How like certain, in your head, you're like, yo, how come the majority of these people that are being interviewed are all black women? Again, not just black people, not black kids, not black men, but black women, like all of them, or like the majority of them. Because the media still has that, and look who owns these networks. I mean, come on now. The media still has that narrative. But I find this interesting because at the same time that people are talking about this idea of them being the welfare queens, Nobody is talking about, well, not nobody, but these same media outlets aren't talking about everything that the Trump administration right now is doing to exploit the welfare, to exploit the taxpayer dollars. So who are the real welfare queens? You got Trump. If y'all think no taxpayer money is really going into the building of the ballroom, come on now. I got a bridge I want to sell you. Well, not the bridge of one of the projects that Trump is cutting, but this dude, we know for a fact that it ain't private donors that are flying him down to Mar-a-Lago every weekend for lavish parties. It's taxpayer dollars. It's taxpayer dollars that are paying for J.D. Vance's vacations. It's taxpayer dollars that are paying for Cash Patel to fly on a private FBI jet to go visit his girlfriend, country singer in Tennessee. It's taxpayer dollars that are paying almost $200 million for Kristi Noem to have 2 airplanes. And a little known story that's being reported, that's not being reported enough, I should say, and the Independent and others have posted about this. Many members of the Trump administration are actually moving to live on military bases in the United States, which is also being paid by taxpayer dollars. Stephen Miller, Kristi Noem, and Marco Rubio are just some of the members of the government who are now living on military bases that are being paid for by taxpayer dollars. So who are the real welfare queens? Look at all the tax breaks that these that these CEOs are getting. If you really want to break that down, but people don't want to talk about that, and people don't want to show the face of white people as majority recipients of SNAP benefits as well. And it's absolutely ridiculous. But y'all, here is where it gets very interesting. And let me explain to y'all why I used air quotes. Linda Taylor was born in 1930 and was listed as a white person on the census, and her birth name was Martha Miller. That article from I believe it was some NPR or something like that. I'm going to put in the chat so you can, or in the descriptions, you can check that particular part out yourself. And this was a woman who was like a chameleon. Like, she passed for black, Asian, passed as a Jewish person one time. Some people say she had Native ancestry in her. Her kids that were born, some looked like they were black, some looked like they were white. Like, it was a whole thing. Like, someone could do a movie on this person. So people aren't even, she told people she had Native American ancestry. People aren't even really clear about her actual background. And again, Reagan didn't mention the race, but people automatically needed to have it as a black woman. And then the last part about this woman's story is that there were other things that she was credibly accused of doing, but the lawyers did not want to convict her or put her on trial for those things because the welfare case was more important. There were credible accusations of her committing murder, killing her roommate, her roommate after she died, she was found on her credit card. There was credible evidence of her kidnapping babies, newborns, from hospitals. But this country decided to prosecute more for welfare fraud than murder and kidnapping, which shows you how the priority. And maybe when she was Linda Taylor, she might have been living as a black woman at this time, because she went through multiple identities, had black husbands, white husbands, like all these things. But the government wanted to focus on this welfare narrative. There's another book out there that's all about this, by Josh Levin, and he says the book is called The Forgotten Life Behind an American Myth. Powerful book. And one of the things that he says in the book was, she was the fall guy for everyone who lost his job or had a hefty tax bill or was angry about his lot in life and the direction of his country. She was someone it felt good to punish. And that's what America is doing right now. It feels good to punish black women. It feels good to keep throwing black women's faces out there as the recipient of all the SNAP benefits, to get their money to pay their baby, their baby daddies and all of that other type of stuff. Not have a conversation about the almost what I'm hearing now, 400,000 black women that are put out of the workforce. Make these AI generated videos. And the thing is, like, even if people know the videos are AI, these Republicans, these MAGA folks and all that, they're still circulating it because they need the face of SNAP to be a black woman. And just like this idea of hunger being in this country, the face of black people suffering across the world was a black woman and their child with the killing of USAID. the image is still here in the United States. And so I wanted to give you all a little bit of history about this idea of where the welfare queen emerged in 1974 with Linda Taylor. I wanted to point out the hypocrisy of what people talk about, who are the recipients of SNAP benefits. And I want you to also understand that the man who lives in the people's house and his administration and his ilk are really the ones who are exploiting the system. And even back then in the 70s, there were people within the government who were exploiting the welfare system. But they needed scapegoats, and Linda Taylor was one of them. She did indeed exploit the system, but it cost more to put her on trial than she was actually accused of stealing. Reagan said it was $150,000 she was making a year off it. It was $10,000. These are real stories. These are things you need to know. And I hope when y'all are watching these AI videos or watching the news and hearing these stories, you all are asking yourself, yo, why they keep putting up black faces? And let them know that this is problematic. All right, that's all I got, y'all. Hit that like and subscribe. Please share this with some information. I'm writing a longer article on this that I'm going to be posting on LinkedIn and Substack. So please follow me in those spaces as well. I'll get the best-selling book, Lies About Black People in the Physical or the Audio. And like I always say, why settle for outstanding when you can be upstanding? Peace.